The majestic bald eagle seems a natural choice for our country's symbol. But some of our founding fathers, like Benjamin Franklin, would have preferred the wild turkey. Although native to North America, the wild turkey has only recently become a resident of Idaho due to an aggressive transplant program by the Department of Fish and Game. The first 17 wild turkeys were acquired from Colorado and released in Idaho in January 1961. Since then, through trades with other wildlife agencies, wild turkey range has been expanded into small pockets throughout the state. Some flocks, such as those in North Idaho near Bonner's Ferry, have done so well that they have outgrown their habitat. Now biologists are beginning to use these groups as a capture source to establish even more wild turkey populations in the state. It's not all that sophisticated. Some kind of bait scattered inside a cage and a stick propping up the door with a length of rope attached. In fact, for most of us, it probably brings back memories of the great trapping experiences of our childhood. Then it was the backyard, a cardboard box, a twig, some string, and a few breadcrumbs begged from Mom's kitchen. A simple bird trap, but perhaps unlike the efforts of our youth, this one really works. The key is patience, a trait a lot of us didn't cultivate as children. The cage has been set up and baited for several days, so on this cold morning, these birds don't suspect a thing. They begin their daily routine with a casual stroll down the road to the trap site to grab some breakfast. Fish and Game Conservation Officer Greg Johnson has been parked close by long before dawn, waiting and watching. Ideally, he'd like to catch a good mix of toms and hens from different age groups, but sometimes in the early morning light, it's tough to distinguish one turkey from another. But finally, Greg judges the timing is right and pulls the rope. The door slams shut, and those caught inside are startled and jumpy. The rest of the flock senses danger, and in no time at all, they've raced up the road to the relative safety of the woods. There they huddle in groups, keeping a furtive watch on the goings-on below.
First time.
The captured turkeys will be transported to their new homes in these cardboard boxes. The dark interior seems to calm them, and the birds fare very well while en route to their new habitats. But the tricky part is getting the turkeys from the cage to the boxes.
Who's going to be our first muggers? You can kind of go in with your back to them, herd them in the corner, and go down for the scaly part of the leg. If you grab them on the back or you go up high on the drumsticks and pull down trying to catch them, you'll strip feathers.
It sounds fairly simple, but it actually can become quite a rodeo.
Hey, Ray. I'm going up to the door. Watch these ends of these panels here.
14 young tom turkeys are in the trap, and not a one is too happy about having humans in the cage with them. Trying to get a firm grip on the birds proves to be quite a challenge.
Go for it. It's his first time.
2 turkeys are finally snagged.
There he goes.
But the losses include one wool stocking hat and a few leg feathers on one of the toms.
They grow back fairly quickly, but he's going to have a cold leg for a while. But the feathers on the legs and the tail and the back come out very easily. And I think that's a predator defense mechanism. You know, if something grabs them as they're flushing, you know, they're going to have a mouthful of feathers. And
the crew marks each bird with a leg band, recording its age and sex before the turkey is boxed into a temporary home. It's not unusual for a first catch in an area to be all juvenile males. But Greg passes the word to trapping crews at more established sites.
117, 121. Got a flock of young toms, so you guys want to make sure you get some hens in there before you trip it. Have they come out of the roost yet?
No, they're sitting right on the ridge. They've flapped around a little bit, but not much more than that.
The second time around, the muggers are a bit more experienced, and it's a much more polished operation. Both turkeys and humans emerge with everything intact. Among the spectators is rancher Nick Plato. He's become quite attached to these strange birds, and even learning to talk turkey with them using a box call. But most important, without the cooperation of landowners like Nick, there wouldn't be a turkey population in North Idaho.
They get quite a bit of feed where we feed the cattle, and though I do feed them, if that isn't available, we have some waste grain, and we'll put grain out for them to make sure that when there's snow that they'll have a place to survive.
If it weren't for the farmers here that put up with them, and they feed them, and they put up with the hunters that come around wanting to hunt them in the springtime, and the people that drive by, just wanting to watch and take pictures, we wouldn't have them here. And you can look at
Greg brings a hen from a different capture to point out the identifying marks of juvenile males and females. The most obvious way to distinguish an immature male from a female is the dark breast feathers.
This is young Tom. On the hen, the tips of the breast feathers are this light buffy colored. The male's heads, they're not nearly as many feathers on the head. You have red and blue coloring. Here's pretty obvious. The hen, lots of fine feathers across the top of her head.
As the Tom becomes more mature, he'll grow a long, distinctive beard, and spurs will develop on his heels. When he struts during the breeding season, he'll spread his tail, displaying a beautiful fan of feathers. But today is not quite as glorious. He ends up in a cardboard box, riding in the back of the pickup with the other turkeys. 2 hours later, as daylight turns to dusk, the truck pulls into the release site. Biologists prefer to free the birds just before nightfall so they'll fly directly into the trees to roost. This way, the flock doesn't scatter, and in the morning, they'll easily find each other, establishing another new population of wild turkeys in Idaho.